Um, okay, so good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. So, I am Priya from Opportune Technology, and I am delighted to welcome you to today's webinar. As many of you already know, Opportune Technology offers as end-to-end HR solution. Our cloud-based HRMS is trusted by over 300 plus clients and 3 lakh plus users across India. So today's session is specially organized by Opportune in association with Nash for our esteemed client. It's my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker, Mr. Akshay sir, founder of Nash and expert in employee pulse monitoring. Akshay sir will be guiding us through some of the most effective strategies and technology approaches to improve employee retention. So without any further delay, I would like to hand it over to Akshay sir to take this session forward. Akshay sir,
Yeah,
start.
thank you. Uh, Hello, everyone. Great to be connected with you all. So today I'm going to speak quickly about employee retention and technology strategies that you can use. This is going to be a very short session. So let me just share my screen. You'll have to let me share.
Yes, sir. Just a second. Yes.
Okay, so I believe my screen is visible. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So, so today we are going to be talking about how we can solve employee retention and three effective ways and technologies that we can use to retain your workforce. Now, these three things that I'm going to walk you through, they together form 95% of the factors that affect employee retention. So if you can fix these three things really well, we have something substantial in our hand. So before that, what is employee retention? Why is it important? So first of all, it's not an HR problem at all. It's more of a business problem. It can cause expensive damages to the organization. It can disrupt business performance. It can disrupt culture. It can breed politics. It increases costs, and it's just too much headache for everyone involved, including the management and the employees, when the employee attrition is high, right? So what are the key causes of attrition, and why do we need to actually reduce that? So there are a few key causes. One of them is burnout. The other is employees not having a clear idea of where their career is heading, so lack of career growth understanding. Then of course there is poor management, but when we talk about poor management, we are not talking about the C level, VP level management. If I am talking about the very mid level managers, how can we help them manage the employees better? And overall, it leads to lack of engagement, which eventually leads to attrition of the employees. So addressing these issues is very important, because otherwise the consequences are too high. Now we are going to look at two different scenarios here. The first, on the current, is the traditional way. Then most of the organizations, and I'm pretty sure you guys must be using a lot of these to retain your employees. So what does the traditional ways include? So development programs are there. Depending on the industry, you may or may not offer flexible work policies, but unlike work policies, there may be other HR related policies that you might be changing and improving with time. And improved compensation, there's only so much you can do with improving the compensation. Then there are R&R efforts, there are wellness initiatives. Every now and then you might do company offsites and employee team building activities, so on and so forth. These are the traditional ways how most of the organizations do it. Study shows that these are very good ways, but they have very short life cycle. What I mean by that, is that if you do it once, the effects of that is not longer. You have to keep on doing it again and again. And the study shows that these add to just 5 to 10% of your efforts, to retain your employees. Now, looking at the right side, the future with the new technology, the new age AI, and all that at our fingertips, where is this industry heading? So the very first thing is the AI-powered analytics, sentiment analysis, and individual feedback analytics. Everything is becoming data-driven. There are moodometers, right? Real-time conversations with the employees. This is very difficult without a tool, but yes, there are tools in the market. They actually offer real-time scalable conversations with your employees. People pattern and anomalies. So what does people pattern and anomalies mean? It's a very, very new study in employee engagement, but basically in layman terms, what it means is understanding individual employees at the individual level and forming patterns for each and every employee. When we talk about forming patterns, we are talking about, has this employee been talking about a certain problem continuously in the last few weeks or months? So from understanding patterns, how long has a particular problem persisted for each and every employee? What can this problem lead to? Can we identify any at-risk employees at any given point in an organization? So identifying these things is basically enabled by people pattern and anomalies. And then most importantly is real-time talking to your employees, understanding them and solving their challenges. And these are recent studies, but they're highlighting that taking these kind of efforts are actually, 5 to 6 times more efficient than the traditional methods. So let's get into it. 3 effective ways of using technology for retention. So the very first way is leveraging employee engagement platforms. Now, I'm not talking about the platforms that you may have. So Google Forms, Microsoft Forms, SurveyMonkey, these are extremely outdated now. Now we need to look at a better listening tool, something that is real time, something that closes the feedback loop, and something that is scalable. So if you can find a tool that satisfies these 3 conditions, you have a very good tool in your hands. And so let's focus on each one of them. So what do I mean by real time? So there are a few do's and don'ts, right? When I talk about how to find these tools, what kind of tools should we go for, and what kind of tools should we not go for? So the first thing is, don't conduct any annual or biannual surveys. So if you're using any tools like, again, SurveyMonkey, Google Forms, or likewise, traditionally you might be conducting biannual, annual employee satisfaction ESAT surveys. Instead, it's better to run more frequent pulse checks. What we recommend is a frequency of fortnight. So once every 15 days, if you can ask just 2 or 3 questions, you're doing a good job in staying ahead of the curve. Then you're actually collecting data to enable the pattern and anomaly thing that I spoke about, in the last slide. And more importantly, this is relatively real time. So you are not just listening to your employees once a year, but you are listening to them in relatively real time. So it's very important. The second do and don't is, don't ask generic questions. Are you happy working here? Share your feedback with us. These are a dead end. This will not get you anything insightful. Instead, request feedback that is more specific, measurable, and actionable. So I'm pretty sure each one of the organizations have their unique core values. So understand the definition of those core values and design surveys or design questions that align with those core values. When I talk about core values, some of the notable ones are integrity, respect, communication, ownership, accountability, things like that. I'm pretty sure you must have heard some of these in your current or previous organization. But basically, finding that alignment, designing questions that align with these core values is very important. And don't Google the questions. If you Google the questions, you all are going to find the same questions. It's either the Gallup Q12 questions, Great Place to Work questions. The first page of Google is flooded by the same questions for every one of us, but they might not apply to all of us. So we need to, again, design unique questions that are unique to our organization and that aligns with our unique core values. Now, this is about finding the right tool to understand your people in real time. The second thing I spoke about is feedback loop, something that closes the feedback loop. When you talk about Google Forms, SurveyMonkey, or any other survey tool, right? They don't close the feedback loop. They will conduct survey for you. You will have a dashboard. Then at the end of the day, you have to take decisions. You have to actually make use of the data and do something about it all by yourself. Here, closing the feedback loop is important, because if you don't close the feedback loop, employees feel like they're talking to a wall, and this is the number one complaint of the employees that our clients have. So when we speak to the employees, the uh, biggest demotivation that they have, or discouragement for filling up surveys or giving feedback, is they talk about nothing happening after giving a feedback. So what's the point of giving a feedback? So don't ever let the employees feel that there is no action after the feedback. We have to close the feedback loop. It's very crucial. Now, using tools that identify challenges is important, but using a tool that identifies the intensity of challenge is also equally important. So one pro tip: go for tools that gives you word cloud, something similar to what you are seeing on the screen, because not only do they help you understand the challenges, but like the typical word cloud, how they operate, uh, the bigger the word is, it means more people are talking about it in a negative way. So go for a tool that also helps you understand the intensity. So this will push you ahead of the curve. This will help you understand the intensity of various problems at the various sources of the organization. And it's important because if your employees feel unheard, then eventually they start checking out, right? They're mentally disconnecting themselves from the workplace, from their peers, from their manager, from their job. Eventually they're going to leave. This is one of the biggest reason why attrition happens. They may stay for the salary, but then their productivity has left, their mental presence has left, and eventually the employee will leave as well. And if they have stayed, the amount of time they have stayed without actually being mentally present is a financial burden on you, the organization, because you are actually giving salary to someone who's not mentally present, who's not bringing their best self to the organization. And this is definitely not on them, not on the employees. It's on the management to put the right systems in place that could actually nurture how they feel within the organization. Right? And then finally, scalability. So we talked about closing the feedback loop. We talked about having the right solution that talks to the people in real time. The final piece is scalability. Now we need to do it in a scalable way. Right? Now there are two kinds of scalability, but we only know one kind. The scalability that comes with the organizational growth. So yes, your employees might grow, and if you're a smaller organization, then you may be having one-on-ones with your employees at a personal level. But as you're growing or as you grow, you'll not be able to maintain that same personal touch. This is the kind of growth which is good for the organization, but at the same time, it brings its own set of challenges. This is the kind of growth that everybody knows. This is the kind of scalability that everybody knows. But as your people scale up, and they are giving you feedback, there is the second hidden scalability, the data. Even the data is scalable. And the more people give feedback, the more data points you have in your hands, which are not being utilized properly. Now, with all this data, you have gold mine sitting in front of you. But how do you actually, read the data to actually make sense of what's happening in the organization? Again, I'm going back to finding patterns and anomalies, looking at historical responses for each and every employee, and setting context, right? Setting context. I'm going to talk about setting context a lot in the next 5-10 minutes. But let me give you a preview of what setting context actually means. It means when you are sitting on ton of data from your employees, their responses, their sentiments, uh, in what context is this data in? Are they aligned to the core values? Are they not aligned to the core values? Is this data, uh, their feedback has come after a certain offsite or before an offsite? How are they feeling at certain time? Has there been any important organizational event that has occurred in your organization? So that contexting is very important. When you have a lot of data, that is, large data, uh, usually the context is missed. So two types of scalability you need to look at in your employee engagement tool. One that scales with people, the other that scales with data, right? So uh, if we have to focus on, again, reiterating the whole thing, find a tool that scales with people and data, that closes the feedback loop, and that identifies the problem, speaks to your people in real time. Now, the second piece, that's the first piece of finding the right solution. The second piece is career pathways. Here we are going to help you identify skill gap, role path, and transparency. So how do we identify skill gaps for the employees? If you're a small organization, the best way is to have periodic one-on-ones. Talk to your people, understand their personal goals, maybe create a path on how their personal goals align with the organizational goals at large. If you're a medium to large sized organization, you can go for OKR and PMS systems. Not that you cannot use that in a smaller sized organization, but combine technology with your personal touch, because as you grow, you will not be able to have that personal touch. So take as much advantage as you can when you can. So use OKR and PMS systems. And again, this is the age of AI, and a lot of new age OKR and PMS systems come with inbuilt AI that analyzes and aligns employee interest to skill gaps. So I look for tools that has AI, because again, a lot of uh, uh, a lot of automation comes with AI, and we need to be on the lookout for that. The second thing is charter an individual career path. Every human needs to grow, and there is an inherent nature in each one of us that I need to head somewhere. And if the employees don't see a clear path of what they are doing, where they are heading, how their work is contributing to a larger picture, then it will be another cause for attrition. They need to see that they're heading somewhere in their career. So you need to chart a path that allows them to grow, that shows them a clear path. Okay, if I do these 10 things, I qualify, or I'm eligible for a promotion, or I'm eligible for a pay raise, or things like that. They need to see that, so give them the opportunity to grow. One of the ways that I have seen organizations do it is where the organization sponsor the learning for the employees. So they may sponsor some crash course, or in very rare cases, they may sponsor degrees as well. And something that the organization needs to. So allow people to actually choose something that they have. For example, one of the clients that we are working with, they have they have Six Sigma courses for all their people in the operations. So the people in the operations, whoever want to grow, they can sign up for Six Sigma courses, they can get certified, and they can put that across in their appraisal systems as well. So this is a very good example of how organizations are leveraging LMS systems, right? And the final piece is complete transparency. Something that I mentioned in the last slide as well, the employees need to know where they're heading. So they need to see that there is a journey that I'm taking with the organization that I'm currently in. If I do keep on doing these things, at no point should it feel monotonous or stagnant. There needs to be a clear path. Okay, if I do these things, I'm being eligible for the next level up that's coming my way. And you can gamify if necessary. There are many tools, gamification tools that you can use, where you are incentivizing employees for actually doing certain things within the organization and encouraging them to go down that path. Right. So chartering a career path, keep with complete transparency, is the second piece. And the final piece, which is overlooked and but the most important, is manager effectiveness. Now, why is this more important? Because managers in an organization come in from two ways. One is external, when the managers are hired from externally, or the internal individual contributors who get promoted to managers. The problem either way is that managers are not able to manage the people effectively, because the people who were individual contributors become managers. There is a drastic mindset change, right? They need to now be managers and manage people instead of actually solving the problem themselves. They are not an IC anymore. The second thing, people who are hired externally, they don't know how the internal things goes on here in the organization that they're hired into. So they either bring in their previous experiences and change what's happening in the organization, or they fail to do that, and then there is a mismatch in the managers and the employee expectations. So having the right managers, creating accountability for those managers and coaching them is extremely important. And again, there are ways that we can coach the managers in a scalable way. And I'm finishing all that in this one slide. So there are three simple ways you can do that. So first is scalable manager coaching, right? So managers need coaching more times than you think that they do, right? And again, using contextual data-driven coaching uh, has always helped managers manage better, and this is proven. So again, I'm bringing up the contextual data driven here because all the feedback that the employees are giving, we need to understand, is there a mismatch in expectations between employees and the managers? Is there enough autonomy that the employees are getting? Various factors and tickers that helps us understand how managers are managing better. And this gives us the context to coach the managers better, right? So manager coaching is important, but you can coach one-on-one manager. But what if you have 10 managers, 50 managers, 100, 500 managers, right? It's very difficult. So we need to find a tool that coaches managers in a scalable way. It needs to happen every day, and it needs to happen at an individual level because each manager is different. So we need to, again, there are tools like that available. We need to find tools that help coach the managers. And for all this to happen, we need to find the right tech stack. Now, I spoke about three things. So if you recall 10 minutes ago, the very first thing I talked about was finding the right employee engagement tool. The second thing was finding the right LMS tool. And the third thing is finding the right manager coaching tool. So finding the right tech stack is very important. And if you can make these three tools speak to each other and drive scalability, drive context setting, and drive individuality, that's something that AI can enable now, you are way ahead of most of the organizations that are that currently exist. These three things, as I said earlier, combine 95% of getting things right and add to your retention efforts. So when you have these three things in place, you don't just have a tech stack, but you instead have foundation to a great culture. And a great culture always fosters retention. So the tips and tricks or the tools that I told or the checklist that I gave you today to find the right tools is not going to just help you in retaining your employees and reducing attrition, but it will set a I would say a system in place uh, that will really scale up even with your organization growing and the new people joining in, right? So that's it. Thank you so much. Let me know if you guys have any questions. No questions? Okay, cool. So yeah, you want to take over? Yeah, there are no questions. I think we can end this then.
Yeah, no sir. Anyone has question तो आप chat box में डाल सकते हो. I think rights नहीं है ना उनको mic unmute करने का, that's why.
We can end this then. I guess there are no questions.
Yes, I think nobody has any questions, so we can end this call. Okay. So thank you, sir, for this grateful
Yeah,
webinar.
thank you so much, everyone.
Thank
Yes,
you,
sir. Thank you so
everyone,
much.
for joining us.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.